Next, we'll talk about some common mistakes when you're using Fiddler. One of them is you set up your tracing, you think everything is fine, but you don't see anything being captured. The problem might be that you had limited which processes you were monitoring before, so you can check both the toolbar and the status bar to make sure that they say any process and not a specific process, otherwise the capture will not occur. If you go under File and uncheck the capture traffic, that could be the reason why you're no longer seeing any new web sessions being captured. That has to be enabled for you to actually be capturing things through Fiddler. It's possible you're using HTTP technology, but it does not have the proxy set by default. So we talked earlier about how Fiddler works. When it starts, it tells WinINet that it wants to act as a proxy for clients. Not all clients respect that setting, so you may need to set the proxy manually. Finally, if your browser does not automatically support using localhost or 127.0.0.1, in the case where you're both the browser and the server on the same machine, we talked about several options. One of them is to use, instead of localhost, use IPv4.fiddler or IPv6.fiddler, depending on what version of IP you're using. And that will force the traffic to go through the proxy, which will then go through Fiddler and capture properly. Let's see some of the common mistakes we might make and why Fiddler might not capture traffic as we expect. So the first one we'll see, we've got Fiddler open, we've got an instance of IE open. You can actually tell Fiddler to only capture traffic from specific processes. By default, you see it's got any process and all processes. If I click, I can drag and drop that on that instance of IE, and now you'll see it's got a specific process that it's watching. So as I make requests, it would do as you would expect. However, if I open up a new browser instance and I go out to Pluralsight's homepage, you'll see it's not capturing any of those requests, and it's not doing it because I've limited it here. So if you have the case where you come back later, especially if I were to close my browser and I go up and open up another one, it's going to have a different value. I'll notice I'm not capturing things correctly. And again, it's because if I look up top, I'm actually limiting it to that specific Internet Explorer. So the way I can do this, I can right-click, and that will now say that it's back to any process. Another cause of the problem would be if I had turned off capturing for some reason. So when I'm done doing a capture, sometimes websites are making requests in the background, so I'll just turn off the capture to keep what I had at the moment. So if I were to turn that off and then come back and make more requests, you'll see again that Fiddler's not doing any of that tracing. I need to go back up and say capture traffic, and then it will act as you expect and capture traffic again. So those are two easy things to check if you expect captures to occur and they're not. Some of the other things we talked about before would be if I were trying to do a trace and by default either the browser or the particular service, like a call to an ASMX or a call to WCF, doesn't by default go through a proxy. That would be the other potential cause of problems.